Hello everyone, welcome to Q&A number 4. Now I love having these chats with you. Talking about guitar related topics is a real pleasure. So let's get stuck right in. Now we're beginning with the premium members of my VIP club first. That's one of the perks of being a monthly supporter. So thanks very much you guys. And we're beginning with Michael. He asks, what is the best guitar pick to play really fast and accurate? Well, the consensus seems to be a pointy pick and a thick pick. And the reason for this is that a pointy pick means that you don't have to dig in very deeply, so that reduces the pick string resistance. And the thickness of it means that it doesn't flex in between pick strokes, so you don't lose the fraction of a second with the flexing of the pick. Everyday practice, when I'm just churning through picks, doing picking practice and stuff like that, I just use these cheap Dunlop Jazz 3 XLs. But when I'm recording my album, or I'm jamming or performing, and I want something a bit more luxurious and professional, I use Hawk picks. As you can see, they're just, I've heard them referred to as the Rolls Royce of guitar picks. That was it. Yeah, these are just fantastic. Anyway, I've done plenty of videos on these before. So yeah, that's what I have to say about pick choices when it comes to playing really fast and accurately. So thanks, Michael. Second question, Patrick, another premium member. Thank you, Patrick. He asks, what is your favorite guitar shape? Well, I'll immediately answer that. Jackson Soloist. My custom guitar was taken from the blueprints of a Jackson Soloist. I love that shape. It's my absolute favorite. So that's an easy question. But you also say, hey Alfred, I recently bought my new guitar. That's nice. I hope you're enjoying your new guitar. It is a V-shaped guitar. My second guitar, actually it was my first, was a Power Strat. I had some problems at first with the position the V is played. Oh yeah, I know what you mean, like the shape, yeah. But after some time, I absolutely love it. I feel it is easier to reach the lower frets without straining the wrist. What about you? Do you like Vs or Explorers? I've never owned a V. I've played a V before. I've played Explorers before. The thing I love about Vs is that it forces you to play with your guitar over your left leg, which I think is good, proper technique. Now, there are a lot of players who play over their right leg, a lot of good ones as well. So my belief that it's correct technique to have it over the left probably doesn't hold that much water, but for me, I love the V and that it forces you to play over your left leg. Also, you're right about the fret, the high fret access. Vs are incredible for that. If I were to get a V guitar, and I'd love to, it would have to be a Carvin Ultra V. That's just one of the most beautiful guitars. I've never played one, but I only hear good things. Thanks very much, Patrick. Carlson, I have a back pain playing guitar. Could you talk about the correct sitting position? Well, this kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying about having the guitar over the left leg. Correct sitting position and back pain, right? So, or just pain in general. See, when I play over my right leg, I have to have my right arm crooked up in the air like this, which gives me some deltoid soreness. And I've never liked that, and I don't like, I just don't like the feel of it, and I'm welcome to that opinion, and you're welcome to yours. Correct posture, so that you don't have back pain, I think is to do with having the strap height high enough so that it isn't actually touching your leg, it's just hovering above it, hovering above your left leg. And you want to be standing or sitting up straight, and you don't want to do this thing that guitarists do, this guitarist slouch, where they crook their neck right over to look down at what they're doing. Because that will give you neck pain. And I suppose if you hunch as well, that's going to give you some back pain. But how are you supposed to monitor your playing if you're not allowed to look down? Well, put a mirror opposite you and just look up, sit up, and watch what you're doing in the mirror. So I recommend you do that. Of course, don't do all of your playing in the mirror, otherwise your brain will rewire and you won't be able to play unless you're looking in the mirror. Brains are funny things. I hope that helps you out. Rusty strings. I'm actually watching a lot of the pretty licks on your videos. I was wondering though how it would fit into a backing track. Right, how do I consider my licks as part of a rhythm background? So yeah, a lot of people ask this, how do I make these licks that you've taught me work over backing tracks? I want to say that I don't make lick videos for people for that reason. Like, you aren't supposed to learn my licks verbatim, note for note, and then try and brute force it over a jam track. Because of the way chord progressions are different in different jam tracks, the lick isn't always going to work how you wanted it to, where you wanted it to. So the idea is that you build up a lick library over the years by watching my lick videos, and then you try them over a backing track. And if a part of it works and then a part of it doesn't, you just chop off the bit that doesn't and just do a bit of noodling or scale runs or bends or slides or something, and then come back to another lick, try that out for a bit. Over a while of doing this, you will develop some sort of intuition and instinct there where you know how to play licks over backing tracks. So yeah, that's my advice there. These licks are just meant to inspire you and give you some more creativity. Don't try and force them over backing tracks if they're not going to fit. He bleeds black. When you're feeling uninspired, do you buy a new effect pedal? No. Or something to liven things up a bit? No, I don't. I don't buy gear. What about seeking more knowledge? No, I don't tend to do that either. Basically, I'm curious about how you specifically overcome a roadblock. Well, if it's a roadblock in my technique, I have to get the video recorder and just record my picking hand, because 99.9% of the time, the picking hand is to blame, because we've only been playing guitar with a lead, with a pick for about the last 100 years, and we've only really known about pick slanting as a community for the last 6 years, thanks to Troy Grady. So if I've hit a roadblock, it's usually because of the picking hand, and I'll record it, figure out what's happening and why, and then come up with a set of strategies and exercises to fix that. But in terms of inspiration, because you were asking about if I'm feeling uninspired, what I do is I just listen to a new artist. I'll search up an artist in my genre, so instrumental, progressive metal, and I'll pull up an album of theirs and I'll just listen to it. And I always get something out of it. I always find some new sounds in there that I think, I could use that. And that's really fresh. I give it a go, and all of a sudden my playing becomes inspired again. So you can become a bit stale, and you do need some outside help sometimes. And that's what I hope my lick videos are for you guys. That's the whole point. Okay, Vicky, top fan on Facebook. Hi, Vicky. I've been practicing about 3 hours a day, but I noticed I had to pull back because I was getting horrible neck pain. Do you experience this at times? So that's to do with the crooking of the neck that I was talking about in response to Carlson's question just before. Do you have any exercises for warming up before and after playing? When I'm warming up for a practice session or playing, I just do some riffs. Like, there are some Symphony X riffs that I do, which are fun and warm me up for playing. Riffs, I think they make a great warm-up. After playing, I usually pour myself a rum and coke and I play some 90s first-person shooters, but I don't think that'll apply to everyone. Also, I'm trying to memorize the fretboard, but it is a slow process. Do you have any tricks for this? Thank you. Well, Vicky, I know that you and I have had a lot of conversations in private, especially about my book, Lead Guitar Practice Methodology. And there's a big chapter in there on diagonal and horizontal playing, which I think you should give a revisit. But I do have some videos for the public on YouTube. Major 7 picking patterns, minor 7 picking patterns, diminished picking patterns, Japanese scale picking patterns, I think, as well. And those are quite big videos, as in like 7 or 8 minutes long. That's a big video for me. And it shows you all these diagonal and sideways connectors, which will inspire you and get you thinking out of the box. And before long, you should be getting all over the fretboard. So definitely check those videos out. I'll leave them in the description below so that you have quick access to them. Thank you, Vicky. Tyler Wells, would you ever consider giving a little insight into your synth writing approach and how you utilize your VSTs. In my music, there are two types of synth. There's the background synth, like pads, I suppose you could call them, and then the lead synth, as in the keyboard solos, which I've just introduced in my second album, because I never used to do keyboard solos. Now, for the background synth, it's very basic stuff, just roots, fifths, or roots, octaves, minor thirds, major thirds, seconds or fourths for the sus chords. It's very basic stuff. But for the keyboard solos, I'm doing that all entirely with my laptop keyboard, and my mouse, just dropping them in on a MIDI arrangement, one note at a time, and seeing what I like, and just going over it again, iteration after iteration, changing notes. You know, I might start with some arpeggios at first, or some pedal tones, and just through the process of evolution, trying everything, but only keeping what works and weeding out what doesn't, I eventually get a keyboard solo that I like. Yeah, and in terms of utilizing my VSTs, I think you asked about that. Yeah, I just have a VST on each channel, and they'll be panned and EQ'd differently. So I might have like double bass in the middle. On another channel, I have the viola slightly off to the left. Another channel, cello slightly off to the right. Violins 1 far left, violins 2 far right. And then like synth, I might have, I might apply like a stereo widening effect to give it some real depth. That's how I do that. That's about as complicated as my VSTs and synths get. I hope that answered your question, Tyler. Final question, here it is. Costas, with exceptions, most notably John Petrucci, I find that the more a guitarist is into gear, the less likely they are to be a really good player. Do you agree, and why would you say that is? Well, I suspect that any evidence we have, Costas, to support these claims will be purely anecdotal. But if you think about it, there's only so many hours in a day, so many hours in a year, and so on. If you spend all your time fawning over gear and trying to find your amazing tone that you're always in search of, or you're trying out new effects pedals, when what you should really be doing is doing some damn practice, then yeah, I can see how you would expect people who are heavily into gear to be not as good as people who aren't into gear. But speaking of anecdotes, I mean, I know a lot of players who are heavily into gear who are really good players. But yeah, it does, as a whole, feel like the gear crazy players aren't as good as others. Yeah, because I mean, for me, I grew up playing Miss Jackson JS1. It's like entry level. It must have cost about 250 to 300 American back in 2007. It's hardly a piece of gear, right? It's entry level stuff. And then I just use a Boss ME50 multi-effects when I'm practicing, and I put on some distortion or overdrive. Like, I don't even know the difference between distortion and overdrive, and quite frankly, I don't care. All that matters to me is getting in the practice time. So would I be as good a guitarist now if I'd spent those years messing around with pedals and stuff like that? Probably not, because I'd lose hours. It would accumulate over the years. So yeah. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes there, but yeah, I think that generally, yeah, the more a guitarist is into gear, the less skilled they're likely to be. I guess you can safely say that, with exceptions, of course. All right, that was Q&A number 4. That was a lot of fun, and hopefully I got through it a lot faster than my last one. Q&A number 3, I went on and on. I'd only just woken up as well, so my brain was going slowly. I don't think that helped at all. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Now it's time for me to get back to practice, and for you to get back to practice as well. So I'll see you next time. If you appreciate my videos, please consider becoming a supporting patron by joining my VIP club. You'll gain exclusive access to the download area, where you can find jam tracks, videos, album art, exercises, recording resources, tabs for all free release material, and bonus etudes, riffs, licks, and exercises that you won't find anywhere else. You can chat with me and other members in the VIP Club forum about all things guitar related. And above all else, you can support me so I can keep making content. Thanks very much.